What's up, Walking Dead heads? Today I'm talking about The Broken Dead. Sorry, I always do this. Anyways, welcome. Thanks for joining The Broken Dead. Today I'm talking about The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 14, because last week I tried to do it and there was an outage with the internet and it all crapped out. But anyways, I've got some news, teasers, and speculation about what's to come for you, so stay tuned. This is The Broken Dead. All right, so my name is Dylan, and thanks for joining. So yeah, whether you're new or you're returning, appreciate you along for the ride, and I hope that you will join us at our normal time on Sunday nights at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, ish. And but you can also watch this on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, hopefully TikTok coming up, Trovo, Twitter, and yeah. So yeah, please like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon so that you know when we drop new videos. And when surprise, I'm live like this. So yep. And don't forget to check out that website at www.broken.picturesno.com. All right, so no special notes, just do what you need to do to stay healthy, all that stuff. However, this is your spoiler alert. I am going to get into the episodes, episode 14, which will be airing on AMC, the channel, tomorrow. However, it's been on AMC Plus since last Sunday. So last Sunday night I went live and went to talk about it. And most of the show was just cut out because I live in a crappy area that has crappy internet. So yeah, there was a big outage and most of it crapped out. So anyways, yeah, we're going to talk about The Walking Dead. So let's see, let me go ahead and get into the intro. Season 11, episode 14. The title is The Rotten Core. Description says Maggie, Lydia, and Elijah help Aaron and Gabriel on a rescue mission. In the chaos, Negan finds himself watching over Hershel. Sebastian coerces Daryl and Rosita into pulling a heist. So yeah, and I'm assuming if you are still here, then you've seen the episode. All right, so this episode, I really enjoyed this episode. I think last week I gave it a 9.5. I might even like go out on a limb and give it a 10 this time, because rewatching it and everything, just to kind of be ready again and everything. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty great episode. The Walking Dead is doing pretty good again. I mean, excuse me, granted there's no Rick and Carl and all that jazz, but for what it is, it's doing really well, and they're telling a great story. Angela Kang is helming it pretty dang good. And so it's pretty interesting, to me anyways. I know some people kind of get hung up on the Commonwealth, and in the comics that was like kind of where it started going downhill, and a lot of people didn't really care for that storyline, but I feel like they're doing a great job with it, and I'm really enjoying watching it. So, and I think that they're kind of veering into some interesting lanes that are still horror, but they're different types of horror, different spins on it, like in different episodes. So it's pretty cool to see that. Yeah, so let me go ahead and let's jump into the episode. So yeah, we start out and we've got we open up on those dead people from last week that Carlson threw off the roof, and pretty gruesome, pretty bold open there, I think. So, I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched The Walking Dead and just been grossed out. Hey, thanks for joining Play Defense on YouTube. So it's been a while. Excuse me. Yeah, since I've been grossed out. Like I used to just sit and eat ice cream or dessert or whatever, and just, you know, like remember the well rotter, or shit, what's his name that got squished in the from Everybody Hates Chris. They got squished in the door. It's been a while since I've been just grossed out on The Walking Dead, and feels like they haven't really been trying to top themselves on that. I don't know, after 10 years. Yeah. But I thought it was, even though it was just them laying there with the flies and everything, I don't know, it just felt like it had been a while since we've seen anything like that. But it was nice. So yeah, so Carlson is up on the roof, and Lance is calling and wants to know what's up with what happened with Riverbend, is what they're calling this community. So I guess we got a new community. Yeah, we're streaming on several other platforms. It's on Facebook, Trovo, Twitch, Twitter, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, for you guys, I'm answering the comments here. So if you don't see the comments, yeah, that's why. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So he said that basically they're not playing along, they're not playing nice, and he can't find the weapons just yet. And so then Lance compares it to like trying to teach or getting mad at a rat for not knowing the difference between right and wrong. And I don't know. That seems to like Lance's mindset about other communities. Like he's sitting up on a high horse and he does not view them very kindly. he's definitely a different type. And so yeah, to just compare other communities that aren't the Commonwealth to rats, you know. Yeah. Okay, so then we get Daryl and Carol are going on a lunch date. So that, I thought that was pretty cool. Daryl and Carol, people have been shipping them for a long time, and we've never really seen anything come out of it. I mean, Carol's always gone a different direction. Daryl's just Daryl by himself all the time. And unless he's got some love interest like Connie just left for a little bit, or there was maybe a hint of Beth, depending on how you feel about that. But of course Shaw, yeah, you can't forget about Shaw, because especially this episode. Let's see. So yeah, Daryl and Rosita are coming in to work, and they're at their precinct, it looks like, and it's like precinct number 5, I think. So I guess there's 4 other precincts at least in the Commonwealth. I think he said like 10,000 strong, 100,000 strong, something like that. I can't remember. It's a lot. So they've got quite a bit of cops, and these cops aren't just cops; they're military. So they're, of course, we're dealing with like a fascist regime here or whatever. But so they show up in their plain clothes, and at first it kind of seems like they're like plainclothes cops, like they're detectives or something like that. And I was kind of getting Boondock Saints flashbacks there with Daryl. But it just appears that like everybody else is in their uniform. So I guess maybe they just got there late. And we get that funny line where Daryl's eating a donut. And yeah, that was pretty great. So yeah, on their yeah. So I'm getting hung up. I usually have Quin with me, and he's got other things going this week. And but yeah, I'm used to bouncing off somebody else. So if I say a lot or seem to get lost, it's because usually I'm with somebody else doing this. So yeah, Sebastian comes in. You can see him coming back the back door, and he kind of gives like Daryl like this nod, like "Yeah, what's up, bro?" And just that whole dynamic is killing me. It's hilarious. And so as they're like, Daryl goes and changes, and he comes back, and Sebastian's bragging about how awesome Sebastian is at killing rotters, and his blood pressure goes, his heart rate or whatever goes down because he's so calm in the moment. Ain't that right, Daryl? Daryl's just like, yeah, good stuff. Obviously, like, I mean, Daryl's playing along, but he's not. He's still Daryl. So I mean, at first, my first inclination was that he was just kind of like playing along, but it got a little too far, and the other guys were laughing. So of course Sebastian's not going to take that well, and immediately immediately makes him pay for it. They don't even hardly get down the steps to the building, and was it Castle and Alves or whoever these two people are that work for Sebastian are tracking them down, and they've got another job for them, and so that's short-lived. So let's just go ahead and follow this Daryl and Rosita storyline first, and then we'll talk about the other one. So yeah, Sebastian, one key thing right there is he calls them rotters. Of course, like every community has a different name for walkers, rotters, empties, all these different things that they call them. And so let me jump down here in my notes. Yeah, so Daryl and Rosita are brought to the outskirts of the Commonwealth, and there's this big house down there, and there's a yard full of walkers, and so they're told that they're going to go. Yeah, Sebastian shows up to let them know what's going on, and so they're being sent in for money because Sebastian's mama cut off his line of credit, which is interesting. I'm assuming. I mean, okay, so the Commonwealth is just like the old world, like everything's normal again. And he's got credit. So, I mean, I guess the banks are functioning, but they're still using old money, it seems like, because he can just go break into a safe somewhere else and just collect money, which is odd, especially as useless as they've played money up to be, especially even in part one, when they had that $100 bill and they just used it to write a note on it to their dad when they were in the subway. So I don't know. It just seems kind of without without coming right out and saying that they still use money there. Like, I mean, it's been implied, but it didn't know it was going to be like cash, like old world, like the same system we use. Didn't know it was going to, I don't know if it was just me, but that didn't connect. Like it was the same money. Like he could just go into old houses and rob them and have cash and use it. So that's kind of odd for me anyways. But also he said that he's got all the good shit. He starts naming off all these drugs too. So yeah, he sent, before him sending them in, he pitches the idea to them, and of course they're not interested because this is stupid, and they're about to leave, and he does probably the stupidest thing and mentions Daryl and Rosita's children in a threatening manner, and Daryl ain't having it. He pulls a big old knife on him, and I was really hoping that would be the end of Sebastian, but of course it wouldn't be, because there's more story to tell with Sebastian, and they're setting him up as this really annoying antagonist. So of course we know in the comics what happens with Sebastian and Rick, but there's no Rick, so it's going to be somebody else, and we've theorized on who that could be with this right here now, where he's definitely setting up this back and forth with Sebastian. It looks like it could potentially be Daryl, but of course we know that Daryl has plot armor because there's a sequel, but a spinoff coming with Carol and Daryl, unless that is a big red herring, and there are rumors that it is a red herring, and that Norman Reedus is actually going to go play Ghost Rider in the MCU. Because they're building that whole Midnight Suns team up thing, it seems like. We talk about Marvel stuff on Thursday nights, so if you want to come back for that, that'd be great. So if I don't know if that whole thing is a huge misdirect, and Norman, I got a crazy hair sticking up. If Norman Reedus isn't coming back and he doesn't have plot armor and he ends up being the one that Sebastian kills, that's going to be a huge WTF moment. That's going to be crazy. I would definitely hand it to him that they had the balls to do something like that. That would be amazing. However, you know, all this stuff. Hey Shay, thanks for liking the stream. And, but all this stuff is kind of working together, and we're getting all these different spin-offs, and it's kind of infuriating. I wish they would. I know that they're trying to balance building momentum for this last season instead of waiting to tell everybody that they're still doing more after this, because the show has been on a huge decline. And you talk to a lot of people, and they left when Rick left, or they left when Carl left, or they left when Glenn left, or when Negan just showed up because he had a foul mouth, or whatever, you know. Even though, yeah, you can watch somebody's guts spill out, but you can't deal with Negan's language. Anyways, so I mean, The Walking Dead has struggled, but it is definitely good again right now for sure, no doubt about that. And I want to see what they're going to do with these spinoffs, and I'm interested to see where they're going with them. However, just reeling it back in here, we got this big confrontation where Daryl's holding a knife to Sebastian's throat. And Sebastian is just like, whoa, hey, I never said anything about hurting kids. Yet, he's obviously suggesting it and giving a nod to the guy. He said, he says, I was just saying that I could make their lives better. But then the other guy was like, or make them orphans. And of course, he, agreed with that because it's obvious, and he's just trying to pretend that that's not what he was doing when he obviously was. Like some other political figures, you know, all of them pretty much. Rosita, man, she didn't even check in. I find it was kind of like in the background, of course, but she pulls up that gun and she is ready to take the dude's head off. And in fact, she even says that, that they might get Daryl, but not before she puts a bullet in Sebastian's head. But man, she did not hesitate whatsoever to back Daryl up, and that's amazing. So let's see. Where am I? All right. So yeah, they're sending them in for the money, but he says that the other two guys, or the army people, can't go down there because their rounds are tracked, and I think that was probably bullshit, to be honest with you, because once we get down there, we find out that there were plenty of other ones, other soldiers that they had sent down there. Plus, later on, Mercer doesn't give a shit about shooting rounds down there. However, I don't know. I just think he was bullshitting with them. Let's see. I actually have notes for this one. All right. Let's see. All right. So yeah, they get in there and they get the guts all over them, and they go in and they got ones that are just like almost like sniffing them, like coming up really close to them, and so when they finally get in there, of course, they've done this a million times before, and the continuity with this is all over the place because, of course, in season 1, when they figure out they can do this, there's like guts hanging off of them, and then we get Fear the Walking Dead, where they just a light little drizzle of blood on the cheeks, and they're good to go. And but then we get the scene where Carl got his eyes shot out, and they're wearing these parkas, and they're covered with guts and stuff all over again. And so maybe it's just like Andrew Lincoln. It's like, hey, we really got to like cover this or something. I don't know, but it seems like it just makes the continuity look all over the place, where they just spatter a little blood here and there, and they're good. And even though they're still covered with their armor and everything, so I don't know how that works exactly, but it seems to be inconsistent, especially when you go from show to show. in this universe. It's supposed to be connected. It just, so they get down there, they get in, and they figure out that there's actually another soldier in there, and we run into April, who's been locked in, and I don't remember if it even said how long she's been in there, but she is freaking out already. And of course, you know, in this world, that is not good, and that doesn't bode well for her or the people around her. Excuse me. So she tells them that they have to go down and turn the generator on, and the thing locked up, and so tells them where it is, and Daryl goes down into the garage, and this is a pretty neat scene where he's in the garage and things are just kind of stacked in all around him, and he's pretty cramped, and he's trying to stick those needle nose pliers in there to kind of, you know, connect the circuit, I guess, and it's flickering all over the place. And in the middle of this, of course, walkers come in, and he is trying to deal with the lights going on and off, and that in itself could mess you up big time. But he takes his armor off, and the first thing I thought was like, oh, of course they're going to take the armor off so that later on they they don't have the armor. But it made sense in the moment, especially watching it again. It's a tight spot, and he couldn't really move like he needed to, so he took it off. And although I don't know why he didn't bring it with him. I think being a soldier, you'd be responsible for your armor. And but it's Daryl, and he was never anything like that to begin with. So he gets in there, and of course he kills the walkers and gets the lights turned on, and they get in there. Rosita puts the code in, and this April chick has been told that that she could have a better life or whatever, and that they would give her a cut of this money. And pretty much the same thing they're doing with Rosita and Daryl. They didn't really give them a chance. And but she's stuck in there, and the other two turned on them, so I guess they were gonna, if you send multiple ones in there, of course, you know, if there's less comes back, then each one gets a bigger cut, I assume is what they're thinking. So so they turned on each other, and they get down there, and they end up killing each other, blah blah blah. And they get in there, and April's still freaking out. She doesn't have her armor on, and so as they're trying to get in this safe, and Daryl's prying at the safe with a crowbar, and just kind of like gets the corner open, which I don't think you can actually do that. I don't know. They did it either way, and he reaches in the corner, and he's pulling his money out, and the alarm just starts going off crazy. And of course, it's bringing all the walkers toward them, and all this noise, and Rosita's trying to turn it off any which way, and she's got one of these little panels that every security system has, where you can just type in the digits and turn it on and off. But she just bashes like trying to rip it out of the wall, like as if, I don't know, cutting the wires or destroying it would make it stop. I don't think that's the case. Otherwise, a lot of people would have got away with stuff a long time ago, and a lot more would just bash it and the alarm stops triggering. I don't know. That just seemed a little bit much. But so they get the alarm to stop, and they're trying to figure out how to get out, and they push. Of course, all the walkers are coming, and they push that big old cabinet up against the door. And as they're trying to decide how to get this April chick out, and she doesn't have enough blood on her, so Rosita, of course, Daryl's already ditched his armor, and most of his armor, and so Rosita starts taking her armor off because, you know, got out the ante, and starts putting it on April. And before they can even really get it on the lady, we start hearing gunshots. And at this point, I had totally forgotten that Carol and Daryl had a lunch date, and that he just didn't show, and that's why she went and got Mercer. And for whatever reason, I know she's in good with Lance, but I don't recall her having any connection with Mercer whatsoever. outside of just being good at that with Carol, where she can kind of get people to do what she wants. And if she name drops Daryl and Rosita, of course, Mercer likes Daryl. And last week when they were at Hilltop, was kind of like telling him to watch out and that they're always watching and stuff like that. So we could see Mercer kind of swaying and having his doubts already. He's been dealing with this for a long time, and just putting up with Sebastian's bullshit for a long time with his enhanced military training, advanced military training, whatever it is. So, you know, he comes in and they're shooting most of their bullets and most of their ammo. They get in there, and of course, you know, Carol tells him, you know, that's why she's there. And they tell Mercer what's going on, and of course they told Mercer that they were in there like looting, that they're trying to rob this place, steal money, because that's who they are. And these people just don't think things through, as if he's going to get down there and just find them dead, and they're, or I mean, because if he finds them alive, of course they're going to tell what the truth is. He's going to tell them. They're going to tell him what really happened, and of course they do. And him trusting Daryl and knowing Sebastian, believes them. And of course we got April down there to verify, and tells him that at least 12 other people have already been killed and subjected to this, and that, you know, raises Mercer's blood pressure a little bit. And so they decide that there's too many walkers for them to be able to shoot their way out. So, I mean, at this point, it sounds like there's still just like a giant herd out there in the front yard or something like that. Or there's obviously too many. But we've seen Mercer take out several by himself. We've seen Daryl. We've seen Rosita. We've seen Carol. All take out several by themselves. So you would think at this point that it would have to be a significant amount for them to kind of be worried about. You know, I mean, I know that they don't really want to put themselves out there unless they have to, but they can handle themselves. They have not had they don't have an issue with this. So they decide they can't shoot their way out. They're just going to, you know, sneak their way out. And so they go through, and there's this line that they're going out, and it's very reminiscent of when Carl got his eyes shot out, of that one kid that starts freaking out and talking and kind of stirs things up, and then just the walkers just start attacking them. So basically the same thing happens with April. I know she's a soldier and she's got experience with this, but she's probably dehydrated and hungry and all these different things going on. She's freaked out, but apparently her training is just not that great, which kind of makes sense that Lance and Mercer would lean on our people a lot more and recognize their skill a lot more and make them stand out a lot more, because these other folks, it's amazing that they even made it this far in the apocalypse. I mean, they just must be Commonwealth people or something, just lower tier on the totem pole there. So they're trying to get out, and one of, like, a strap or something gets hung on her or a walker, and she freaks out, and they attack, and she gets eaten, and they had to put her down, and they have to shoot their way out, and they run out of bullets. And Mercer's got this great, I can't think of the word, the bayonet on the end of the gun, but he doesn't even use it. He just throws it down and pulls out his axes. I guess I'm assuming that means he's just more familiar with using his axes, and he likes them better. So they seemingly just easily cut their way through and deal with these walkers, and then they deal with April, but it seems like there are no walkers whatsoever, even that it's worth even mentioning, that because when they go through the front door, it cuts the scene. So I mean, I guess they're trying to say that that's where they shot most of their bullets coming in, and they made their way through by just wiping out all the walkers. But I don't know. It seems like they're saying these things to kind of build suspense about, like, oh, how much ammo you got left, how many rounds you got left, and oh, not enough. Not, hey, I have confidence in myself, shouldn't be a problem, we can do this. It's like, oh boy, here we go. Not, hey, let's just keep April back and let's go cut our way through or see how many. I don't know. It just seemed to kind of be muddied there when they cut it, and then when they go outside, it doesn't seem to be any more walkers to deal with, or maybe there's just no more story to tell there. I don't know. So they get up there, back up on the hill, and Sebastian's long gone by then. He's got other things to do, other people to screw. And we've got, I think it was Castle and Alves waiting for them up there. And so they start running their mouths, and they don't answer to Mercer and all this stuff. And it doesn't take Mercer but a split second to decide that he's going to kill them once he finds out that they've sent at least 30 to 40 other Commonwealth soldiers in there, or maybe just normal people. I don't know if they're sending soldiers or just normal people, because I guess that would make sense if April wasn't a soldier, her reaction, and maybe she's just somebody that lives in the Commonwealth and just looking for an opportunity to better herself. So let's see. Yeah. So he learns that they've killed 30 to 40 at least different people, and Pop knocks him out, or doesn't knock him out, but kills him. And so they're dead, and doesn't even think twice, man. He's had enough. And I love this, that Mercer is finally on our side, and we know for sure that he's not just wavering anymore. Like he of course he can explain this away, but he offers to hide the money on himself so that they can pay off Sebastian, and that they have to just play along. I guess Mercer hasn't fought back because he doesn't see it as an option, is what it seems like, because he told them this isn't a fight that you can win. So there's something's been bubbling up with Mercer, and of course we know that he's on our team now because he calls them walkers, and that's just something that our crew does. Everybody else has a different. Even Sebastian calls them rotters. So, but he's calling them walkers now. So that's just another little clue, just another little hint that he's one of our people now, which I thought was a great little detail. And so they get back to the precinct, and everybody's gone, and Sebastian shows up to get his money and gives them a little cut, and asks where they are, and Mercer is there in the background, just kind of letting him know that he knows what's going on. But of course, Sebastian being Sebastian is untouchable, and or at least thinks he's untouchable. And so Mercer is definitely privy to what's been going on, and he knows Sebastian well and how this thing works, and just tells them they didn't make it, that his people didn't make it. But I could definitely see that there is some more plotting going on, that there's going to be something else going on here, especially with the 6-month time jump and the teaser that we get with Daryl telling Maggie to trust him, because she's not going to trust Mercer, she's not going to trust these other folks, but she might trust Daryl. So then later on we get Lance. Of course, he's calling for Carlson, and at this point Carlson is long ago. Carlson is long gone at this point, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But Carol walks in, and just kind of reports to Lance what's going on, because Lance was like, hey, where you been? And the way Carol said that, she has no clue that Lance is in on it, and he just comes right out and says it, that he knew about what was going on. Finally, we got in, da, da, da. So he's been basically enabling Sebastian this whole time, and I think it's because he's trying to overthrow or shift power or perform a coup to take the Commonwealth from Pamela, because he knows Sebastian is weak, but Sebastian is not going to be able to lead, but he can definitely be a big thorn in Pamela's side and use him as opportunity to kind of grab more power and more respect, because he's handling things on the outside there. So I definitely think that Sebastian is playing Pamela and her son against each other. And so maybe later on if we get that scene where Sebastian kills off one of the main characters, just like in the comics where he killed Rick, and it might be Daryl, it might be Aaron, it might be Gabriel, or Mercer, it could be anybody at this point. Definitely looking like either Mercer or Daryl, if the whole Daryl thing is fake. But at this point on the surface, it looks like it could be Mercer. So if they are able to take Lance down and expose him and take his power away, then that would definitely affect Sebastian in a negative way, and I could see Sebastian retaliating and taking one of the main characters out. Or it just gets close to them taking Lance down, and he does something because he thinks he's going to help Lance out or whatever, and kills the dude. Because Lance mentions that Mercer or Daryl or somebody is a thorn in his side, so he goes and kills him for him because he thinks he's helping out. That would make sense. But we may or may not be headed that way. We'll see. All right, so there's that storyline. But also I definitely think that Lance is on Carol's kill list now. I mean, it would be crazy if the whole Daryl Carol thing was fake. The whole Daryl Carol spinoff was fake, and Carol was actually the one that Sebastian kills, because Carol's right there on the inside with Lance and could definitely end up being a thorn in his side. So we'll see. I mean, that would be, man, I didn't even think about Carol till just now. That's pretty messed up. After all this, Carol goes out like that. That'd be. I might have the same reaction as Rick getting killed in the comics by this dude. Which is probably what they're looking for. But I don't know. We'll see. All right, so this other storyline was pretty fun too. We've got some big revelations in this one. So we've got, of course, at the beginning of the episode, we've got Maggie and Aaron coming through, and Annie finds them and tells them to drop their weapons. But then Elijah comes up behind Annie, tells her to drop her weapons. But then Negan walks in and introduces everybody to everybody and says, put your shit back in your pants and zip up. And then Lydia comes around the corner and, hey, there's Negan. And they have a little moment that's kind of like this knowing moment of like, hey, you just left and didn't say bye. And he's like, hey, it was an awkward little moment. And so they get back to, Negan shows them that they've kind of boarded up some of the doors and the walls to kind of hide this little apartment area. So I guess if they get raided, that they don't really get to the living quarters, because the building is just kind of out there in the middle of nowhere. Anybody could walk up in the middle of the night or whatever and raid their building. So they've got some precautions, which is pretty smart. And so Negan shows them that behind this closet, you've got like this whole, you know, almost like in Demolition Man, where they go and there's this undercity under the entire city. They just have this other little area in the building where everybody actually lives. And so Aaron at this point basically just blames Annie and them for the weapons, and still thinks that they took the weapons. And Annie and Negan confirmed that they did not take the weapons. They don't even know anything about the weapons. They're just basically being attacked because they're just the closest ones to where the weapons disappeared, and nobody obviously no one bothered asking them. They just assumed. We know Lance's point of view on this is that they're rats, and that why would they even answer truthfully or even know right from wrong? We can't trust what they said because, you know, they're rats. And so and we get no answer on why Ian, their leader, who was I forget his name from Terminator and Aliens, why he had skulls on his shelf. Like, you know, the governor was keeping heads in fish tanks. This guy's keeping skulls on his shelf. I don't know if this is just a tactic to try to scare people, to kind of weed them out and figure out who they are, or if this is actually like there's crazy warlords situation. Even though there's just this huge disconnect between the people that came outside, and they've, you know, this shaved head chick with this big old sickle, and they're like these Mad Max warlord type people living in this building, and then come to find out they're just these just normal folks, just, you know, getting married and pregnant and having babies and living their normal lives in Frank style in the crawl spaces. And I mean, I don't know. It's just. There's a huge disconnect there, and I don't understand that, or if they're going to even answer it, because they keep bringing it up, but they're not answering it, because Aaron straight up asked him, he was like, why did your leader have skulls on his shelf? And nothing. But they've got to deal with Carlson at the moment, Toby Carlson, and so Maggie, or Annie, wants to take Maggie with her for whatever reason. I guess she wants to talk to her and connect with her about all this, and Negan, and she knows who she is apparently. And so she takes her, and they're gonna go hunt some people down. And so let's see. Yeah, then we get the reveal that Negan and Aaron asks him, you know, who is Annie to you? And he shows his wedding ring, and and it's been like maybe 4 or 5 months, and Negan, I mean, we know how Negan likes his wives. I think somebody said that this is like his 6th wife, because remember back at the in the Saviors, in the Sanctuary, that Negan had several wives, had many wives, and although he didn't have any other babies, so I don't know if he was like actually, I don't know why he wouldn't, but I don't know if he was actually sleeping with them, or if it was just like a social tactic to kind of, I don't know, to tell people that they're his wives, to kind of protect them or something. I don't know, but on the surface, Negan's had several wives, and now he's got another, because that's what he does. He takes wives. So, but this one, we'll find out later that he's knocked her up, and he's moving very quickly. And so Lydia makes a point about the Whisper, or that the Commonwealth shouldn't be trusted, that they're basically the Whisperers in different masks, and I thought that was a very good point. Especially to Aaron and Gabe, who seem to be very big fans of the Commonwealth at this point still. and on the side of the Commonwealth. So, but I think that's kind of like when it starts getting in their head about that this is kind of nuts. That the Commonwealth and not just Toby is bad apples. About that time, Negan looks out the window and he's like, oh shit. And one of the Commonwealth soldiers have found Hershel stowed away in Maggie's truck. How he got there, how he snuck in without Maggie noticing or anybody noticing is beyond me, but it is what it is. And so Negan goes down there and trying to read my own handwriting here. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So Negan goes down with a crowbar and beats the dude up and kills him with a crowbar right there in front of Hershel, and saves him, brings him back upstairs. And then we cut back to Maggie and Annie, and they're talking, and Annie leans against the doorpost and pulls out some ginger and starts munching on it. And of course, Maggie recognizes this because I'm pretty sure that's one of the things that the doctor gave her when she was pregnant with Hershel. And she reveals that Annie is 12 weeks pregnant. So, yeah. Okay, somebody help me out here. 3 months pregnant? About 3 months pregnant? And, so, I mean, like I said, Negan didn't waste no time. Yeah. Which, I mean, this new Negan, it makes sense that he would have a child or trying to build a family. In the apocalypse, you got me, but that's what he was trying to do with Lucille originally. And for whatever reason, I guess because he was still really attached to Lucille, he did not make a family with his other wives. But now he's moving on. He's moved on from Lucille, and he's ready to move on with his life, so he's making babies. So yeah, Negan calls and tells Maggie about Hershel, and Maggie flips out, that he's with Negan, and if anything happens to him, and Negan, chimes in, as Negan does. He's very good with kids, and he says, if anything happens to him, it'll have to go through me first, or it'll have to happen to me first, which still doesn't do it for Maggie. That doesn't reassure her at all, and she's not shaken by this. And so Negan apparently Negan told Annie about Glenn and everything about his past life because she says she knows all about it. And this doesn't really set well with Maggie because dude's trying to move on with his life, but she can't move on with hers because he straight up killed her husband in cold blood. And so Annie makes a good point about she kind of accepts the world for what it is, and that we've all made mistakes and we've all done horrible things, and Maggie says that he doesn't get to forget about it. And one of the great things that Annie said in response is that he hasn't, and so that just shows. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan, the way he plays Negan with this visage of guilt and still kind of like this bravado is remarkable, and it's really good. Not Bro Nation. I'm not familiar with them. I have to check them out. Thanks, Play Defense. The way that Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays Negan is pretty great, and the way he carries him, and in these moments where he's telling them to stick it back in their pants and still being very much Negan, and running killing folks with his crossbow, or not crossbow, his crowbar, which is his replacement now, I guess. yet still having this very, very humble awareness of himself and where he's come from, is really, really good. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan is a great actor, and he always has been, or he has been for a long time, at least as long as I've known him. So yeah, so then we get this moment where Hershel and Negan have this moment, and they are they're figuring each other out, and Hershel asks if he's a bad man, and of course Negan, in this moment, it's another hat tip to Jeffrey Dean Morgan and him playing this character, because there's in this room there's a window, and then there's a wall behind him, and the way he plays it is like he comes from the wall, like he's coming from darkness, and he stops about halfway and tells Hershel that he used to be a bad man, and then kind of steps into the light as Hershel realizes, and this dawns on him, that Negan is this bad man that killed his father. And Negan has this very broken moment of being a new father, and now like it settling in on him what he's taken away from this child that's standing right before him. And I just thought it was a great scene, and like Hershel stone cold pointing that gun at him, doesn't even care, and he's not crying, just emotionless, because Hershel's a different kind of kid, and the things he's seen, he's eating spiders. And this kid is different. He's not Judith. Like, he's handled the apocalypse very differently, and had a very different support system, or lack of. And man, I do not envy Maggie trying to deal with this kid when he's a teenager, unless they get this kid some kind of healing or something, resolution. And it looks like they're getting there with this interaction with Negan. And so Negan kind of explains that, yeah, I deserve this, but these other people don't. And so if you fire that gun, these other people, the bad people, are going to come, and they're going to hurt the good people here. So don't do it. And by this time, everybody else has kind of noticed what's going on. And I thought it was pretty key that Lydia is the one that takes the gun from Hershel, because Negan also killed her parent. Yet there's a whole different relationship there, and a whole different dynamic, and a whole different reason. It was a whole different Negan that did it. And of course, Alpha is completely different than Glenn. Completely different. So I just thought it was a nice little contrast and comparison there of children that Negan's killed their parents. So that was a great scene. That scene in itself is pretty much why I gave this episode a 9.5 or 10, because that right there was pretty awesome. And I thought it was amazing. And even though the whole Negan getting married and baby on the way makes sense, but it seems kind of out there, but it makes sense, and it really, really drives this moment home. So I applaud them for that. And all right, so let's see. We get where we at? All right, so yeah, Maggie and Annie, we cut back to them. And over here, Carlson saying that if they don't figure out if they don't find any more of these residents and find out where the weapons went in the next few minutes, that he's just gonna burn it all down. This dude is nuts, and a really fun character, really fun bad guy. And the way this guy played it, I'm not sure what the actor's name is, but the way he played it was really fun. Like, at first I was kind of like, oh, this is like a Ned Flanders type guy, but then he really, really changed it. And excuse me, and it just made him that more scary and that much more threatening to me. Yeah, so So Carlson goes to the end of the hall, and he's standing in the room and playing with this bottle of booze, and he's just kind of like, he's not, I can't tell if he has drunk some of it. It's kind of gone, but he's toying with it, almost kind of like he's still dealing with being aware of what kind of person drinking makes him, but still being in the kind of the throes of the effects of it. So I thought he played that pretty well. And while he's doing that, he almost finds the doorway to the inner city, I guess, and sees that footprint on the ground. And they really play this up for tension. I thought they did really well with this, because typically at this point we get like the standard, like, hey, oh, and they're distracted, and it's like, what? He saw a footprint. He knows something's going on right there. But somebody did get his attention, and he told him to wait. So I thought the way they played that was really nice, because the thing that draws him away is he hears the gunshots, and he's pissed because he thinks Gabriel is causing more trouble, and Gabriel's the one who punched him in the face. So it's personal. Like, there's a good reason for him to not pursue that footprint, even though he was really close. So I thought that was done really well. And man, it wasn't just some cheap little, oh, what? Oh, I'm distracted. Even though this is like a trained killer and mercenary. So, but he's maybe not been drinking, but he's in the throes of, what he's doing. He's caught up in what he's doing. And so he goes up there and he finds Aaron and Gabriel both, and surrounds them, and the jig is up. Oh, we got you. What are you guys doing? You choosing these people over us? What? I can't believe you do this. Da, da, da. And then Elijah comes up from behind and chop, and takes most of them out. And of course, Aaron and Gabriel join in, and they get Carlson alone. And just when Carlson thinks that he's going to be able to kind of talk himself out of it, Maggie shows up on the roof. And I think it's maybe not just Maggie, I can't remember, but some other folks show up on the roof. And that's when Carlson kind of realizes that the jig is up. And now it's flipped, and he's screwed. And so at this point, Aaron, basically the new Rick at this point, just picks up that gun and just blows him away and knocks him off the roof. And on the way down, he kind of screams like a girl, which was kind of funny given his character and how much of a big bad he's supposed to be. Yet at the beginning, we met him as like, I'm just trying to, go out and find my zen, and the guy was actually in a good place, and Lance messed him up, which is kind of sad. But dude definitely still had some demons to deal with, and they kind of scream on the way down. And then of course the dude doesn't even die at this point, and so that we can get that moment where the walkers, crawlers, or whatever awaken the ones that he threw off the roof, and they engulf him and eat him alive while he is awake and fully aware of it. So very, very much gets what's coming to him. And so I think that was probably the only reason he survived the fall, even though it didn't seem like anybody else did. And I'm pretty sure that nobody else screamed like that on their way down. So that was a nice touch to kind of add that in there to just give it that much more oomph when he gets his. So let's see, we got one more thing. Yeah, Lance, of course, we go back to that one scene where Carol enters and she walks in on Lance, and he's trying to get a hold of Carlson and not getting anything back. And oh, there is one more scene so when they're clearing the Riverbend community, the building of the Commonwealth soldiers, Negan has a little moment with Hershel. This little Kill Bill moment. It's like, when you grow up and you help your mom, You grow up, you get your community back on the feet, and if you still feel sore about it, come find me and we'll settle this. So that was pretty cool. And then about that time, Maggie walks in and is like, what did he say to you? What did he say to you? But Hershel being Hershel, just stone cold, just did not respond, didn't say anything. Just he's thinking about it. He's brewing. He's marinating these ideas. You've got a lot to think about. And so then we're back on the roof, and Aaron and he's not on the roof, but anyways, back all together. Everybody's back together, and Aaron and Gabriel and Maggie are trying to figure out where these weapons actually went if the people at the river bend don't have them, and how they're going to explain it to Lance, because they've got to go back. Otherwise, Lance is just going to send more troops. So they've got to kind of like diffuse this. So it's going to be interesting next week seeing, or tomorrow if you're watching AMC Plus, seeing Aaron and Gabriel, which is probably another great spinoff. There's some good episodes together. It's going to be great seeing them try to explain to Lance what happened and why Carlson didn't make it, why nobody but them made it. If you watch the teaser at the end, Lance really wasn't buying their explanation. So that's more tension right there, and it's going to be interesting to see that unfold. And of course, now Maggie is justified in her decision not to trust the Commonwealth, and she's got allies in Abe and Gabriel. Aaron, good God. Aaron and Gabriel are now on her side, but they're inside men, so they can figure out, or they can kind of plot with her on how to get away or take them down, or do something about the Commonwealth. And based on the teaser and the 6-month time jump that we got, Daryl and Maggie don't seem to have communicated about some sort of plot moving forward on this. But with Aaron and Gabriel on the inside, is the Commonwealth just, I mean, I know it's big, but is it so huge that they are living separate lives and they haven't communicated with Carol and Daryl and Rosita or Jerry or Ezekiel or anybody else about what's going on, or even Eugene? Nobody. I'm not buying it, because that seems like it would be a reason to go find them and say, hey, this isn't what we thought it was. There's something else going on here. And kind of reconnect with your crew. So and maybe they do, and it just doesn't get, the news just doesn't get to Daryl in time so that they can have that tension there between him and Maggie. Will they, won't they type thing. Trust each other. So, let's see. So yeah, then we get the big reveal of who actually took the weapons, and it's Shaw looking like a badass. We get that soldier crawling away, and she just walks up real slow, reaches down, and we see that tattoo, that mercenary tattoo on her arm, that Reaper tattoo, and then she just whoosh, and we get the reveal that it's Shaw. And we see that bullet hole is already like scarred over. So I don't know how long it's been since they had their run-in with the Reapers. I mean, months, but even months, like it wouldn't be scarred over like that. Like it's like an old wound. I mean, it still looks like a new scar, but I mean, that's a scar. That's not still healing, which a bullet wound, pretty big wound. It would take months to heal, I would think. But anyways, that's all I've got on this episode. Let me look as far as like speculation about what's to come, of course, we see in the teaser that Lance is not really buying Aaron and Gabriel's story. He's kind of on to them, and Max is I think she's talking to Mercer. She could be talking to anybody, but she's basically kind of pitching the idea that the Commonwealth is supposed to be more than this, and things are just kind of coming down around them, and she wants it to be more, and that this is why I think she's talking to Mercer, because she's saying that you could do this, like you could make this happen, or you could do something about it. So, and then we get the little clip where Mercer has a regiment at the gates of the hilltop, just like in the flash forward, and Maggie says something to the effect is like, "Why should I trust you?" And Daryl says, "I'm not asking you to trust them. I'm asking you to trust me." And so that moment, it could be a cue for Maggie to realize that Daryl's doing something else. And I think Mercer's in on it at this point too, from what we've seen so far. Next episode tomorrow, from what I'm seeing, unless I might not be completely updated on this, but this is earlier this week. It looks like the title was going to be Trust, and episode 16, the finale, is potentially going to be named God. So the past few weeks they have been kind of changing up the names, and only part of the titles have come out, and then they would be different on the day that they are released. So don't hold me to those titles. They could change, or probably will change, but of course we don't have descriptions on them yet because they're pretty tight-lipped on this, and especially AMC Plus is airing or releasing these episodes a week ahead of when they would air on the channel. As far as spinoffs go, don't really have any more news. It's like there's a rumor that there may be a Rick and Michonne spinoff. We might be getting a Rick Michonne spinoff here that will kind of fill in instead of the movies, I assume. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, they're spitting out these spinoffs left and right, and even ill-timed, because I forgot to mention, but like when Hershel's holding the gun up to Negan, like we know that Negan wasn't going to die because they've already announced him and Maggie have a spinoff coming. So, I mean, yeah, they should have waited at least until after this episode to announce it, that was going to happen, which would be tomorrow night on The Talking Dead that they would announce it, which would have made more sense. And I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan even kind of lamented that on Twitter or something, where he wishes that they would have waited so that moment would have kind of had more impact with people watching it, not knowing if Hershel was going to kill Negan or what was going to come of Negan. But no real other spinoff news besides a potential Rick Michonne spinoff. And of course, we know the Maggie Negan spinoff is coming, where they go to, it's called Isle of the Dead, where they're going to Manhattan. And from what I can guess, it's going to be some like Escape from New York type thing. But they're saying that it's going to change the Walking Dead universe, as you know, is what Jeffrey Morgan said. And Fear the Walking Dead returns on April 17th. We've got 2 more episodes counting tomorrow and the finale next week. If you're watching AMC Plus. If not, there's still 3 weeks to go because, yeah. But that's all I got. That's it. Thank you for watching. My name is Dylan, and I hope that you will join us live for every other Sunday night at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time is usually when we're airing, as long as there's a new Walking Dead episode. Yeah, please like and subscribe and hit the little bell icon so that you know when we drop new videos and when we go live, and appreciate that very much. Just a little like and share goes a long way. Huge help. And if you want to check out the stuff in our merch store, yeah, don't forget to check the website at www.broken.pictures. no.com. See you next time. Peace.